the people who are going to be most in our government, who's going to be most impacted by these in the sense that they're going to have direct feedback from their constituents are local and state electeds. They're the ones who are going to have to try to explain why there's not, why SNAP has been cut, and why kids don't have food on their table. There's going to be the ones who are going to have conversations with their constituents at town halls about why it is that industries are leaving and there's no job to replace it. We have an opportunity here, if we move quickly, to insert ourselves into the solution space. We know what a solution to that is, at least one piece of the puzzle, and that's basic income, right? And so a lot of our work for the rest of the day is going to be thinking really about going deep into the people that we need to align with, that we need to engage with, and that we need to kind of get on our side pretty quickly in order for us to have basic income be the answer that is being inserted into the conversation as much as possible. And so I just want to make sure that we're thinking in those terms, like what's the opportunity here? What's the possibility? And are there new people that we can bring to the table? Can we start to think about impacts on whole industries? Can we think about bringing chambers of commerce together? Can we think about, right, like there's a lot of different folks that we can be thinking about here that could be either allies or funding sources or partners in some capacity as we do this work. Okay, let's shift a little bit and think about, well, what are people doing to help us think through and maybe take some big swings, think outside of the box in this moment. So I'm excited to bring up to the stage Mark Donovan, who is the executive director of Denver Basic Income Project and is going to share some work that's happening in Colorado. Give him a round of applause.
Good morning, everyone. Stacy asked me to give a quick update on the work being done in Colorado to explore the possibility of a statewide universal basic income or a cash dividend. But before I do that, I want to share that the National Earthquake Information Center, located incidentally in Golden, Colorado, reported yesterday at 3:47 significant seismic activity coming out of the First Amendment Lounge in the National Press Club. Does anybody know anything about that? For those of you who were not in that room, I know you heard it, and I know you felt it, and believe you me, you're going to keep hearing it and keep feeling it. Am I right? Champaign, Hunter. There's a lot of talk these days by funders and philanthropists about transferring power to community. Let me be perfectly clear. Unless you hear that sound, it's not happening. Quick poll. How many of you were on social media this morning? Okay, let me ask that again, for real. No shame, no judgment here. How many of you were on social media this morning? Okay. How many of you used ChatGPT or another AI assistant? How many of you have an Apple Watch or some other wearable device that collects real-time biometric data? Okay. All right. How many of you received your check last month from Apple for the high-quality real-time health data you transferred to them? Huh? How about Google or Meta? Did you get their check? No? Oh, one? Okay, good. You must work for them. Must be the cuts to the Postal Service, right? How many of you are ready to receive a monthly consistent cash dividend, not aid, but your share of the wealth that we've created together? I'm Mark Donovan. I'm the founder of the Denver Basic Income Project, the largest guaranteed income initiative in the United States focused specifically on people experiencing homelessness. We've delivered over $10.8 million in unconditional cash to more than 800 individuals and families in Denver. And what did we learn? what all of you know, cash works, especially when it's delivered unconditionally and consistently with real trust and respect. It's powerful, immediate, and transformative. You all know this, but you also know that systems matter. And many of our systems are broken, inefficient, discriminatory, and inequitable. While we've made great progress over the past 5 years, we're not scaling this movement fast enough to meet the urgency of this moment. In late 2024, it became abundantly clear that funders were not going to expand the work we had started in Denver despite the positive outcomes. Many of you have experienced the same thing, Mayor Tubbs in Stockton, the New Leaf Project, Miracle Money, the extended tax credit, just to name a few. So in January, we created a coalition to explore the possibility of putting this decision directly in the hands of the people of Colorado. Community-based organizations, policy experts, organizers, state and local leaders, funders, and most importantly, everyday folks will determine our path forward. I'm speaking today on behalf of this coalition that's working together to assess the feasibility of a permanent and universal cash dividend for the people of Colorado, possibly through a 2026 ballot initiative. We scoped the work in 3 phases. Phase 1 involved a series of 3 meetings in February to frame the challenge, propose a set of steps that would give us information needed to make an informed decision, and find out if members were willing to fund that work. 6 organizations, income movement included, agreed to fund Phase 2, which includes a population study to understand the costs at the state level, a revenue study to consider potential sources of funds, and polling to understand the viability of going to the ballot. The University of Denver team has completed the cost modeling report. The report emphasized that full universality may not be viable at launch, but a targeted universalist model that Esther discussed yesterday, starting small and expanding over time, is both feasible and fiscally realistic. Most importantly, it confirms that a permanent cash dividend is possible. This is extremely exciting when coupled with the fact that even modest, consistent payments can create meaningful impact. To give every resident of Colorado $500 a month would cost approximately $37 billion. We couldn't convince the mayor of Denver to give us even $2.5 million for 2025. So jumping directly to full universality is simply not realistic. However, if we committed to bringing everybody into the fold within 10 to 20 years, we could take a phased approach. For instance, it only costs $600 million to provide $100 a month to every Coloradan below the poverty line, about 550,000 people. It only costs $373 million to provide $100 a month for every newborn. The Colorado Fiscal Institute is currently preparing a memo that will explore a range of potential revenue options to support a cash dividend program in Colorado. They're identifying and estimating high-level funding possibilities that could seed and sustain a statewide dividend. Their memo will be used to inform public opinion, polling, and future work design. Revenue streams can be generated from wealth, income, land, data, and services to seed a public wealth fund that grows significantly over time. How many of you are familiar with the Alaska Permanent Fund? Many. Created in 1976, it was designed to ensure that the state's oil wealth didn't just benefit corporations and vanish with time. A portion of oil revenues is deposited into a wealth fund, which is invested on behalf of the public. Each year, Alaskans receive a dividend from the fund's earnings, regardless of income. In 2023, that check was around $1,300 per person. The fund started with about $700,000. It's now today worth over $80 billion. This is one of the longest running and most popular examples of universal basic income in the world. And it proves something powerful. When people share in collective assets, the benefits are tangible and lasting. But oil is a finite resource. The next great asset class, the one we are building in real time, is data and artificial intelligence. And unlike oil, this asset grows more valuable the more we use it. The platforms we interact with daily, search engines, voice assistants, recommendation systems, are built on our behavior and data. We are giving our enormously valuable data away for a tiny fraction of what it's worth to these companies. We are the raw material that's fueling trillion-dollar platforms and AI models. It's possible for data and AI to become the modern equivalent of Alaska's oil, a shared resource that generates collective value, but only if we build the systems to capture that value and return it to the people it comes from. Done right, this isn't just about replicating Alaska's model. It's about building something even bigger, more equitable, and more future-proof. Interestingly enough, we've been hearing folks on both sides of the aisle talk about wealth funds. That doesn't happen often these days, and it means there's a window of opportunity right now. Coloradans are facing rising costs and economic instability. We have the 8th least affordable housing market in the country. Childcare costs are among the top 5 nationwide. Nearly 1 in 10 Coloradans live in poverty, and federal safety net programs are increasingly at risk. At the same time, AI, automation, humanoid robots are transforming our labor markets faster than we can adapt, as we just heard. I agree with almost everything that was said in that presentation, except I don't believe that more jobs are going to be created than are displaced. Microsoft cut around 6,000 jobs last month, and it revealed a stark irony. Even as the software industry booms, the tech giant is replacing product managers and engineers with AI, signaling a major shift for workers everywhere. We're entering an era where wage income alone won't be enough to guarantee stability. We need new tools. A universal cash dividend should be one of them. I'll be around for the rest of the day if you'd like to talk about this more. You can go to the denverbasicincomeproject.org, our research tab, and toward the bottom of where there are different reports, you'll see the report that I referenced from DEU that lays out a whole host of targeted, phased ways that we could move into this work. I thank you all for showing up to do this important work. I thank you for your courage and persistence. I thank you for believing we together can make the world a better place. We're in an unprecedented moment that demands collective resistance, bold vision, and a new social contract that invests in our most valuable resource, our people. Thank you.